You should seriously consider becoming a screenwriter.
What in the actual fuck?
Good evening, Johnny Cage.
Hey, what's up? Hopefully the audio doesn't sound as crap as before. I'm still using the same headset. So I'm making this as an update to my last rant because, oh boy, there's a lot to talk about since the new season dropped. I also wanted to address your guys' comments as well, regard to the points I made. Yeah, so firstly, I was not expecting my first rant to get as much engagement as it did. It was surprising just how many people felt the exact same way. And your comments were great. About 95% of people at least understood where I was coming from, even if you didn't agree or have the same issues. Of course, I did get the small pile of dog shit in there. Some people don't understand what a rant is, I guess. Because, yeah, I was bitching. You know, I'm severely dissatisfied with the product I bought. There's this one guy who said something like, wah wah, goo goo gaga whining, which is, you know, that's a banger rebuttal. That's fire. Anyway, I also did appreciate everyone who sympathized and made suggestions about my online matchmaking plight. I did try to read all of them. For anyone who doesn't know, didn't watch that first video, I hadn't been able to play a single online match since purchase. That was the biggest issue I had with the game. Many people must have forgot I said I was on a PlayStation 5, which I am, because they suggested something's wrong with my PC or Xbox, and others naturally assumed it was my internet. So, for context, I use a Wi-Fi provider, and I actually pay for the best possible internet in my area, and I have never had an issue like this with any other game. But I do want to jump into this right away, because since I made that video, basically right after upload, I was able to get online matches going. Of course, you might think, oh, when they updated the game, my issue is patched, right? Nope. I actually figured out how to fire it up on the last day of the Scorpion season by pure accident. And you are not going to believe the fucking loophole I have to jump through to get it going. So you ready? Okay. I was opening and closing the game multiple times, testing out PS5 recordings since I use the built-in PlayStation Share features to make these videos, and I use Share Factory to edit them. After about several times of doing that, and letting it sit on my broken online matchmaking, it suddenly started working, and it matched me with someone. I was so confused that I literally closed the matchmaking and the game in disbelief. I opened it back up and tried again, and it was working. I couldn't believe it. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't think to record any of it. It didn't even cross my mind because, holy shit, I could finally play online. I thought it was like a NetherRealm employee saw my first rant, you know? And they're like, oh damn, we gotta patch his account. They unlocked my online mode. So, I played it for a bit. A few casual rounds, won a couple, lost a couple. I'm still so unused to playing against another human, other than when I play local with friends. But I did do a Kombat League set, and won twice in a row. But in this game's Kombat League, you have to do all 3 matches. I'll get into the specifics with that later. But anyway, I said, fuck that, I'm not grinding this on the last day of the season, so I switched to King of the Hill. I remembered loving King of the Hill, you know, and there's no other modes to try anyway, so I loaded a lobby up. Immediately, other players were saying, pretty sure they were slurs, just classic toxic trash talking. Felt like I was back in a COD lobby. But that's part of the appeal of King of the Hill, right? Anyway, waited my turn to fight the King player. He won a match, I won a match. Then on round 3 I started getting really sloppy with my combos. Got my ass kicked. Like I said, I've gotten way too used to only fighting the AI in this game. But I let the lobby cycle in the background while I waited for my next turn. I decided to go again. Finally, after a while, because King of the Hill takes forever, I was next to fight the King player. And could you guess what happened? Remember, this is only my second match in this King of the Hill lobby, and it fucking froze. Or crashed, I don't even really know. I got a black screen and the match just wouldn't load in, like the character select. This is no joke. I couldn't make this shit up if I wanted to. And you could hear the other players with their mics still on, clicking shit, and then leaving. So I fucking left. You know, I finally get to play online, and this is what I was experiencing. I'm already done. I also realized that I had now fully seen everything this game has to offer. So I turned it off. Next day, tried to play online again while recording. And the matchmaking was, once again, fucking broken. That's the footage you're seeing now, me waiting on it to work. I seriously gave up for a couple more days before trying my quote-unquote fix again, where I open the game, close it over and over. And then until, like, the 7th time, my online worked again. And then after I left the online mode, after playing it for a bit, I had to close and open the game an 8th time to get back in. So if I want to play online, I have to literally turn the game on and off again until it works. I don't have to tell you this, but that's beyond fucked up. I don't even know what could cause an issue like that in the game itself. Because that ain't a fucking internet issue, man. The games and matches run perfectly fine once I get it going. Other than your standard shitty connection some people have on occasion. So, yeah, no goddamn idea what that's about. I guess every time I want to play online, I'll have to use this method. And I know some of you are also still having this issue. I would highly recommend trying this out. Turn the game on and off again until it works. Legitimately. Anyway, the broken bullshit aside, because I don't have a clue about it anymore, I want to talk about the actual features of online mode. What's my take on it? Well, it hasn't changed a fucking bit since MK9. In fact, there's actually less to it now. No variations on fighters, you can't fight on tournament rules, everyone still uses the same current meta. You know, and that's not to say I'm surprised though. Listen, I know most people just get fighting games to fight online, and then they're satisfied. They don't need any other content or mechanics to play with, and that's fine. Maybe I just don't enjoy fighting games as much anymore. Or specifically, maybe I'm sick of Mortal Kombat's formula. I did want to mention Kombat League specifically. You have to do 3 fights per set now, even if you do win twice in a row. So it's not really best of 3 anymore, just 3 fights. And honestly, it's even more tedious to me. I've never been the biggest fan of how Kombat League's ranking system works to begin with. It's too slow, too grindy. There's no consequences on the lower ranks since the loser still gets some points. Little participation prize. And the higher ranks become a toxic spam fest usually. And you're not going to care about the rewards or cosmetics if you don't like the season's theme, right? Speaking of the new season, I want to talk about Invasions mode again. Okay, we're completely moving on from the online talk now. So, Invasions updated with the new season, with it revolving around Natara. So right off the bat, who gives a fuck? Like I mentioned before, Megan Fox has ruined this character for me. In this game at least. Her voice is like fucking nails on a chalkboard, and I didn't really touch on this that much in the last video, because we all already know this, right? She sucks. She doesn't even do her hissing or screaming sounds. They hired an actual voice actor to do those, which is comedic, honestly. Now look, I usually don't blame the voice actor or actress for a bad performance. Like, Ada Wong, for example, in the new Resident Evil 4 remake. It's not her fault that they allowed those takes into the game. You know, voice acting goes through a casting director, a voice coach, then audio editors, right? Like, there's so many layers before the red lines are put into the game. They failed her. And that's something I'd probably like to talk about in the future. Ada and Resident Evil 4. But anyway, it's very clear that NetherRealm just wanted Megan Fox in the game, so they did not care to direct her acting at all, so she didn't care to try. You know, it's an easy paycheck for her. I always thought that Ronda Rousey was way overhated in MK11, and this game proved it. NRS can allow so much worse to pass as acting. Never let her cook as Natara again. Like, I don't know if Ed Boon was too busy stroking his shit to Megan to maybe intervene with her awful line recordings, but I digress this whole topic. Okay, moving on. The actual invasions mode. It's exactly what I was afraid it was going to be. Completely and utterly the same shit, down to reusing mesas. Now, it's not all bad, okay? There was a couple of improvements to the game. First of all, we got Omni-Man, who I've been playing as through most of this footage, and he's a fantastic character. He's almost too good right now, I'd say. He's overpowered, and I'm not even a huge Invincible fan, but I do love J.K. Simmons, of course. And I've been having so much fun with him. I really like doing that Jax Backbreaker combo with him for some reason. Still think Ermac and Quan Chi should be in the game right now too, but whatever. My shrine has also reset, allowing for more purchases. Which proves, yes, you are limited to a set amount per season, but they will reset. The frame rate also seems to have improved in Invasions mode slightly, but like someone said in the last video, it's a glorified tabletop board game simulator, so it shouldn't be running like shit to begin with. They also added this new feature to speed up the character's movement speed while running between the modules by clicking L3, which is such a small thing, but it does make a big difference. And while they do reuse the mesas, they aren't, one-to-one the exact same, right? There's different formats to them, and the lighting's slightly different and whatnot. And there's also this new survival mode that I don't really like, with killing 10 demons, because it's bugged out or something. The tutorial note here says that you're timed, but as you can see in this footage, the timer's infinite, and it's also just unclear what you're actually supposed to do. I ended up using projectiles with rain, and I think it worked after hitting 10 of them, but I'm not sure. It's glitchy bullshit. But now, let's dive into the massive issues this new season has washed up, other than the new bugs. So, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think this was ever explicitly stated during the first season, but everything resets between the seasons. Not just your invasions level, which was expected, but the seasonal credits, all the currencies, the talismans, and the relics. So, let's say, for example, you're collecting each type of elemental armor talisman like me. Well, they're all gone. And the thing with the talismans is it's so egregious because it was already a half-baked mechanic to begin with, and now there's absolutely no reason to bother with the forge, because you know you won't keep your shit, right? And now you can't even forge legendary tier talismans at all. I do want to note though that you do seem to keep your Titan talismans that you earn from completing the boss fight, because I still have my Titan Baraka talisman. Nothing else though. And I'm especially pissed about losing that one relic that increases your XP gain that you get from the Cage Mansion tutorial. But yeah, you lose all your earned currencies too. The seasonal credits don't transfer over. So like I said earlier, if you don't like the season's theme for cosmetics, why would you give a fuck? Better buy all those orange and yellow skins before you lose your chance. I mean, now it's mainly red and black coloring with blood symbols instead of tattoos. So, yippee. You essentially have to grind everything back from zero when a new season drops. Someone compared it to a full-time job, and yeah, it's about just as much fun. I don't want to just repeat this shit every month. That's not fun content. And a couple people were saying how NetherRealm was talking about removing that super armor mechanic from the invasions mode, which I was looking very forward to actually. Yep, that was a fucking lie. It's still present in invasions, and it's still in the towers, and still fucking annoying. The towers are exactly the same too. They still have the annoying modifiers that suck ass, and it's just boring. Someone said this game really does feel like the original MK1 at the arcade, where all you can do is fight the tower and maybe other people. But it's not that I want more boring filler to net some shitty cosmetics. I just want something enjoyable, right? Something to incentivize me to play. Now, look, I know there's gonna be more to this game eventually. Okay, this is still a relatively new game. And when I made that first rant even, I knew all these issues are gonna be fixed later down the line, and that the DLCs and updates will eventually be out, yada yada. I don't want it to seem like I'm just saying, you know, this game sucks, I hate Mortal Kombat, or whatever, because I don't. You know, I'm really trying to be constructive about it. My problem is with how rushed and empty this game is right now. It is literally unfinished and disappointing is the word. There's this theory going around that this game was supposed to be Injustice 3, but they quickly reskinned it as Mortal Kombat 12 from Warner Bros. Pushing on them or whatever. I can definitely believe that, but I don't know, right? I mean, that's the same reason why I don't blame all the greedy or horrible decision making on Warner Bros. For pressuring NetherRealm, because I don't work there at the end of the day. I have no fucking idea. It's just speculation. What I do know is that this combat pack is being dragged out. We didn't even get Tremor with Omni-Man's release, despite the fact that they literally showed us that he's complete in the trailers. And here's something I've been saying. I know from a business standpoint why they're doing it, right? They want to slowly drip feed us the DLC over the next year to consistently keep player engagement up. Every time a new character or cameo releases, everyone's going to flood back and play the game. But me knowing that doesn't mean I like it, right? I miss when games release as a complete and full package. You know, these games used to be filled with different modes and content. Like Deception had so much shit to do, for example. Also, apparently, Anthony Starr won't even be voicing Homelander. You know, this comes from his Instagram. Now, I think he could be trolling because of NDA shit. But again, I don't work at NetherRealm. I don't know. But I will say, if they really did fail to secure the star for their most anticipated guest character, then this game's fucked. It would also explain why he's being delayed as well. But I mean, there's not much transparency anymore from NetherRealm, so we're just left to guess. You know, even their combat casts have the comments disabled now, apparently. I guess that's how you respond to backlash nowadays, just ignore it. And speaking of backlash, I want to talk about the Premier Store again. I talked about it a bit before, but I hate this microtransaction shit that every live service game needs to push nowadays. Someone else said it best, that it's a spit and a slap to the face saying all this good shit in here when the game is already so empty. You know, like, let us unlock this alternatively. Some of it is already in the shrine. Let us spend, like, a big amount of credits, too, for the Deadly Alliance skins or something. Since a lot of the seasonal store costumes are trash, and people care about these ones, let them buy it alternatively. And, you know, if they do keep adding these Deadly Alliance skins, I'm really hoping they add Johnny Cage's skin. Because honestly, his drip was impeccable in that game. But, anyway, all this to bring up the real topic. They added another seasonal fatality for the same amount of Dragon Crystals. I couldn't believe it, dude. They really saw all the uproar for that Halloween one and said, you know what? Run that shit back. Thanksgiving fatality for the same price. And I'm really pissed about this Thanksgiving one too, because it's awesome. You know, it's so goofy and gross. I wish more fatalities were creative like this. But here's the thing. NRS did kinda address this on Twitter, not fucking calling it X, that if you buy one seasonal fatality, you get them all. So if you bought the Halloween one, you get this Thanksgiving one and winter one for free. Now I, of course, would have preferred if they just backpedaled and refunded the people who bought it and put it in the game for free as unlockables or something, right? But I mean, this is an acceptable compromise somewhat. You know, since now we know we're actually getting 3 unique fatalities for our purchase, not 1. So, I don't know. I might pick them up now since it's more worth it. So, is the game all sunshine and rainbows now? Did they fix everything? Hell no. Is it gonna get better? Most likely. But do I still regret pre-ordering? Hell yeah. You should absolutely wait for everything to come out before buying games nowadays, just like I said before. The problem is that these live service games feed off FOMO like parasites. You know, they coin on you not wanting to miss out on anything. And now I feel like I'm stuck in the sunk cost fallacy because I've already invested my time and money into this game, right? I should at least see it out till the whole Kombat pack is released, shouldn't I? And I do want to play the aftermath for this game's story. I know most people don't really care about that, but I don't know. I mainly do like Mortal Kombat for its characters and its stories. Yeah, I know, that's weird, right? Speaking of the story, I didn't talk about it that much before because it wasn't a main focal point for my rant. You know, there's many other people who have given entire breakdowns and critiques of the story, so I didn't really feel a need to add my 2 cents. But since I'm already making a second video, I do want to give a small review here, though, because I do want to make this point that the first 50% of the story is great. You know, that first half of the story was legitimately amazing. I loved every character. The writing and pacing was on point. It felt like one of the good Mortal Kombat movies, right? Johnny and Kenshi's bromance, Syzoth and Ashra, Baraka, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, all of it was great until exactly halfway through. That 50% mark, I believe, is exactly after Sub-Zero's chapter, going into Scorpion's, which is precisely where the writing falls apart. You know, Bihan's motivations for becoming evil were so weak and generic, you could see his betrayal from a mile away. It almost felt intentional. Then all that multiverse bullshit. Every property and IP needs a multiverse right now. It's the trend, which is where that invasions mode even comes from. And then the story fights started feeling like filler at that point onward. They tried to do too much with too little. You know, it's supposed to be Deadly Alliance's spiritual remake, but Quan Chi is DLC, like, the fuck? I mean, I do like all the callbacks to the 3D era, but it's still just fan service at that point, right? I hope the Aftermath story stays far more grounded. Like, just stick to our timeline, please. But anyway, I commend anyone who is able to drop this game and not give a shit. Okay, don't pre-order games anymore. Not just NetherRealm or fighting games, any game. Always wait for that shit to be patched up and finished, okay? The bonuses are always there to incentivize you to buy an unfinished product, and they're never worth it. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite developers. I almost pre-ordered Spider-Man 2 also, and you know what? I'm very glad that I didn't, because now when I do pick up the game, I'm gonna get a fixed, complete package. Never, ever pre-ordering another game again. So, there you have it. That was everything I wanted to talk about since the new update. If you watched this whole thing, thank you. I know this was way longer than the last rant I did. I am for sure putting more effort into it. I mean, last time I basically just turned the game on and started bitching, you know. If I do keep making more content like this, which I want to, I definitely need to invest into a better mic or something. I'm absolutely going to use this format from now on, where I mostly commentate over recordings instead of doing the one take. This is probably the last video I make ranting about MK1, though. I mean, unless they really keep fucking this game up and pissing me off. A little behind the scenes, for those of you still here. I have to write like a pseudo script for these rants, so I don't completely lose track of what I'm talking about and go off the rails. Start to stutter when I do that. And when I start talking, my saliva glands start producing at like 3 times the speed, so I have to keep fucking swallowing so it doesn't sound like a fucking phlegm or semen stuck in my mouth. Really annoying. But anyway, I felt much better this time around, though. I hope you enjoyed either way, and I'm done.